Adam here from the Walzer Automotive Group, and what I'd like to do today is compare a couple of vehicles. Now on the one side we have the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid, then on the other side we have the Honda CR-V Hybrid. So we'll look at the interiors, exteriors, some of the trim level specifics, and see which one might just be perfect for you. Let's begin by looking at the 2025 Honda CR-V Hybrid. Now, while there is just a standard CR-V, the Hybrid will increase your fuel economy quite a bit. Now, this has a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, which is going to be paired with 2 electric motors, and that's going to give you 201 horsepower. Now, what's great about the CR-V Hybrid is it can come in front-wheel drive if you want a little bit better fuel economy, or you can get the all-wheel drive system, which obviously today it's very snowy, so that is an excellent thing to have up here in the Midwest. Now, looking at the CR-V Hybrid, it's going to come in 3 different trim levels. We have our Sport, which we have here today. There's the Sport L and then the Sport Touring. So if you want a little bit more equipment, some more of that luxury stuff, you can bump your way up the trim level, but we wanted to keep it very close to the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid with the premium package. So in terms of fuel economy with the all-wheel drive, you're looking at 40 in the city and 34 on the highway, which is going to give you 37 mpg combined. That's pretty awesome out of a mid-sized vehicle, and there's a lot of usability here too, plus pretty cool styling. Now this color looks awesome out here, especially with the snow and the black accents that go on the Hybrid. You are going to get the blacked out 18-inch wheels. This one also gets the black grille and the roof rack rails as well as the mirror caps, so it does give it a very sporty appearance. Now another thing is the cargo area. So this particular one doesn't get the power liftgate. You'd have to go up a trim level to get that, but you do get a lot of storage space back there. Whether you're hauling people or all your stuff around, you can also fold the seats down as they are a 60-40 split seat, and it makes it really easy to load this up and go away for a long weekend or have excellent fuel economy on that next road trip. But before we dive too much into the interior, let's jump over to the Mazda. We'll check that one out. Now let's look at the 2025 Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. Now this is the newest vehicle in the Mazda lineup, and there's a ton to like on this vehicle. Now as far as the engine is concerned, this one is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. This is a hybrid system that's going to get you about 219 horsepower. Now the difference here is you're looking at 39 city and 37 highway, so combined 38 compared to the 37 when looking at the CR-V Hybrid. Now the Mazda CX-50 has been in the lineup for a while, but with the new addition of the Hybrid, you're adding that extra fuel economy, and really one of the only things that you're taking away would be the towing capacity. So if you're looking for the full towing capacity of about 3,500 pounds, this one is limited to around 1,500 pounds, so that would be something to consider there. Now the Mazda CX-50 with the styling looks very similar to the non-hybrid version. The only real way to tell is the hybrid badge on the side, and there is 6 different trim levels available for the CX-50 Hybrid. Now this particular one is the premium. So again, we want to get apples to apples comparison with the Sport CR-V Hybrid, and this one is going to be very close in terms of price. Now the CX-50 compared to maybe the CX-5 is a little more kind of rugged and outdoor focused. You'll notice things inside like the stitching, which is supposed to resemble a hiking boot, but this one also gets the crossbars that you can add up above with the roof rack rails. So if you're into mountain biking, the outdoors, both these vehicles would work very well for that, and they are suited to that. Now, one of the differences, this one does get a blacked out wheel, but it is a 17-inch wheel when compared to the 18 on the CR-V Hybrid. Now, one thing that is important to note is the CX-50 does not come with front-wheel drive. All Mazda SUVs are now standard with their all-wheel drive system. So if you're looking for the front-wheel drive only, that would be the CR-V Hybrid platform. But if you're up here in the Midwest, you know the snow is coming, the all-wheel drive, like I said, is definitely nice to have. Now this premium does get a powered liftgate in this trim, and storage and cargo area is going to be pretty similar between the two. It did maybe feel just a little bit larger, but you do have a little bit of a shorter headroom area for the second row. But again, we'll cover some of that when we hop inside. But for now, let's jump back over to the CR-V Hybrid. We'll check out that interior. All right, so now behind the wheel of the CR-V Hybrid, again, this is the sport trim, so this is really where it all just begins. Now, what's really great, this does come with a remote start standard on the key fob. So before I even hopped in the vehicle today, I was able to melt some of the snow off of it. And this one also gets heated cloth seats. These seats are really comfortable. So if you're looking for a cloth material, the CR-V Sport does offer this, but you can get the leather appointed seats as you move up the trim level. But the heated seats are really nice on the cloth. They don't get so hot in the summer, and they heat up really nicely in the winter. Now this one will also get the leather wrapped steering wheel here, and you'll find some of your infotainment display buttons on the left side of the steering wheel. Now half the gauge cluster will be digital, so you can keep track of all your information up there. You can look through a ton of different stuff, whether it's your fuel economy, some of your safety settings in there. You can even look at the all-wheel drive or where the energy is going in the vehicle, which is kind of something that's cool to monitor. Now on the other side, we have the adaptive cruise control. So this will have standard adaptive cruise control. So it gives you a 4, 3, 2, 1 car length distance ahead of you. There's also a lane departure warning system. So if you start to sway out of your lane, it will notify you. So it's some of that added safety in here, along with the blind spot monitoring, that if you and your family in the vehicle, obviously you're gonna wanna make sure you're safe, and that's gonna come standard on this model. Now you will also get a backup camera here in the infotainment display. So this is the smaller screen. As you move up to the next 2 trim levels, there is a little bit larger display, but I don't mind this one at all. You can actually plug your phone in for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto if you want to use that. It's just a very basic, easy to use infotainment screen, and the backup camera in there is not bad either. Now there is a huge little storage area down here, so you can put a couple of phones there. There is a USB and USB-C charger down here, and then you do have a couple selectable drive modes. So you can click that between Sport, Normal, Econ, and then a Snow mode. So that'll help you fine-tune your driving based on the conditions that might be outside. Now what about the second row? So there is, like I said, a little bit more headroom. Now where I'm seated comfortably at 6'1", where I would want to drive the vehicle, I did find that I have a little bit more headroom and knee room behind me in this vehicle when compared to the CX-50. Now 5 adults would get a little tighter in here. You might want to jump up to the Passport or the Pilot if you're looking at like hauling people around or you got the larger family. But I think for most of the time, even if you got the car seats back there, the doors open at a 90 degree. So it's really easy to load up the kiddos if you're doing that, or just putting groceries in the back. There's a lot of storage in here and ways to use the interior space. Now there is also USB-C charging in the back, and there will be a couple of vents, whether it's for the kids or the dogs. Everybody's gonna be nice and warm or nice and cool. So like I said, this is the base model. So there's a lot of great equipment in here, and now both vehicles are gonna start around the $35,000 price range. Now MSRP wise, this one comes in at about $37,900, so just shy of the $38,000 price range. Getting the heated cloth seats, you can use the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, all the safety and great fuel economy definitely makes this one a high contender on the list. So the ride and drive is also awesome. I know we don't cover that too much in this video, but it's comfortable. It's very simple. You get in the car, you know how everything works, you can put it in drive and you're off and running. I think there's a lot to like about the Honda CR-V. But let's jump over, we'll check out that Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. All right, so now behind the wheel of the CX-50 Hybrid, again, this is the premium trim. So there's about 6 different trim levels like I mentioned before. This one does give you a lot of great stuff. The premium adds the leather appointed seats, some of the black accenting on the outside of the vehicle. The Bose sound system in this model does sound pretty awesome, and the panoramic sunroof up above. So you do get a lot of great stuff for not a lot more to add in that premium package. And like I said, these are just kind of more of the base model trims. So if you want even more of that nice luxury equipment, you can certainly go up from here. Now this one will also get the leather wrapped steering wheel here. What's great, very similar to the CR-V. On the one side, you've got your audio controls. There's a little bit less going on with the digital gauge cluster here. It's kind of that center display moves around, but you can keep track of most of your pertinent information. And then on the left, that would be kind of the hybrid gauge to keep track of stuff there. And then this does have the adaptive cruise control. So very similar standard safety features with the CX-50 Hybrid. The adaptive cruise system works awesome in these. You've also got blind spot monitoring and the mirrors and the emergency braking plus more. Now, what about the seats? So the leather appointed seats, like I said, kind of have that stitching that runs through with kind of the bronze accenting, and these are heated as well for those Minnesota winters. It's very comfortable and almost a little bit more luxurious to me. Where the Honda seems a little bit more utility, this one seems like it adds a little bit more luxury. With the stitching and kind of the leatherette on the dash here, I like the way the infotainment screen is laid out, and this one also gets wireless Apple CarPlay as standard and a little bit different infotainment screen. Now you do get a controller down here that you can go through, plus that is a touch screen as well, but once you get it figured out, having your Apple CarPlay in either one of these vehicles is definitely a treat. Text messaging, Google Maps, Spotify, makes it so easy when you're on the road. I love the way this infotainment's laid out, and it does make it pretty simple. Plus, you got voice controls, and now they've added in Amazon Alexa. So you can use Alexa to pretty much do anything in the car. That is pretty cool as well. Now the second row, very similar to CR-V. Like I said, a little bit less headroom, especially even with the panoramic sunroof. It does take a little bit away. Wasn't like I was hitting my head back there, but I did notice just a little bit more kind of room in the back of the CR-V than compared to the CX-50. But again, the cargo area feels pretty close. This one did seem like a little bit easier, a little bit kind of lower loading floor, if that makes sense. But overall, very similar there. In the second row with these, the seats pretty much the same, with the USB charging for the kiddos or whoever's in the back seat, and the vents back there do make it very comfortable. Now, let's talk about pricing. So MSRP on this one comes in just a little bit over $39,100. So with the premium package, that puts you a little bit over the top of the CR-V, but I feel like between the two hybrids, you feel like you're getting a little bit more equipment, maybe luxury and style with the interior on the CX-50, but you are getting a little bit more utility, maybe a little bit more space in the back of the CR-V as well. But overall, they made it very close. Obviously, it's only 1 mpg better in the Mazda, so fuel economy is pretty much the same between the two. I think it really depends on getting out, getting behind the wheel. Do you like the way the Mazda sits? Visibility is good, but it might be a little bit better in the CR-V for you. So I think there's so many similarities between the two, whether it's the CarPlay, the heated seats, the fuel economy. I think it really breaks down to the exterior styling. Get behind the wheel, pop open that cargo area and see if it works for you. But I don't think there's a bad choice here. I think these are great hybrid SUVs and definitely a couple to get out, take for a spin, and see what you think. Now that was just a quick look at the Mazda CX-50 Hybrid and the Honda CR-V Hybrid. Now if you have any other questions or you'd like to schedule a test drive, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by anytime. We'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for watching.